Welcome to this edition of Literary Reviews. I am Hope Still-Jones, and we will be reviewing The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The story opens in 17th century Puritan Boston. Hester Prynne is led out of the prison and onto the scaffold, the public platform of judgment. She carries her 3-month-old infant daughter, Pearl, and is forced to wear a custom-made symbol of her adultery, the scarlet letter A, intricately embroidered on her gown. Hester refuses to name the father of her child, despite intense pressure from the magistrate and the young Reverend Arthur Dimmesdale.
Thank you, neighbors. I feel the warmth of your love and understanding, and who needs Judy or Wapner when we have you?
While standing on the scaffold, Hester spots a familiar, deformed man in the crowd, her long-lost husband, Roger Chillingworth, who had been presumed lost at sea. Recognizing his wife, Chillingworth gestures to Hester to keep his identity a secret. He immediately adopts the guise of a scholarly physician, eager to settle in the colony. Later, Chillingworth gains access to Hester in the prison cell, introducing himself as the doctor sent to treat the distressed infant. He demands to know the name of Pearl's father, but Hester remains resolute in her silence. Chillingworth, fueled by a desire for slow-burning intellectual revenge, informs Hester that he will not reveal himself as her husband, but he vows to discover the man's identity and subject him to relentless private torture. Hester agrees to keep the secret of Chillingworth's true relationship to her.
You are wondering why I agreed to keep his secret. It's because he swore that he wouldn't harm me or expose my lover to the magistrates. He doesn't know who Pearl's father is, but I'm fairly certain he won't stop until he finds out. It seems that righteous people are nothing more than people with a lot of secrets. I'm in Boston, but I feel like I'm in Salt Lake City.
Upon her release, Hester settles in a small, isolated cottage on the outskirts of the village. She earns a meager living as a skilled seamstress, producing beautiful clothing for the colony, though never for bridal wear. Her daughter, Pearl, grows into a wild and intuitive child who seems fascinated by the scarlet letter on her mother's chest. The magistrates, concerned by Pearl's defiant nature, attempt to remove her from Hester's custody, arguing she is unfit to raise a proper Christian.
Hester, I am not trying to be unruly or excessive, but you must admit your daughter is sort of different than most.
During a confrontation at Governor Bellingham's mansion, Reverend Dimmesdale intervenes on Hester's behalf and successfully argues for Pearl to remain with her mother. I'm not finished with that. At this time, Dimmesdale's own health is rapidly failing, marked by chronic chest pain, fasting, and a general air of physical decay. Chillingworth, already suspecting the minister, attaches himself to Dimmesdale as his personal physician, and the two men move into the same house.
I was surprised how much you defended Hester to the magistrate. It seems you have some sort of bond to the woman and child. They are children of God. Hester is one of God's masterpieces, and the child could possibly bear her father's nose. I am neither biased toward them nor against them, and my defense of them is because I ain't no hater.
As the physician, Chillingworth studies Dimmesdale's symptoms, both physical and psychological.
I'm taking bets on the 5th race.
Put 40 shillings on Pilgrim Pony to show. He systematically probes the minister's conscience, subtly turning his revenge into a calculated torment. One afternoon, while the minister is asleep, Chillingworth pulls back Dimmesdale's vestment and sees a mark on his chest. The specific nature of the mark is unclear, but its presence confirms Chillingworth's suspicion. Dimmesdale is the partner in Hester's sin.
Who da baby daddy? You da baby daddy.
Years later, racked by guilt, Dimmesdale climbs the empty scaffold at night, hoping to confess his sin privately to the indifferent night sky. Hester and Pearl, returning from a deathbed vigil, join him on the scaffold, forming a brief, electric connection as a family unit. Chillingworth suddenly appears and manipulates Dimmesdale into returning home, ensuring the confession remains secret.
It seems everyone is coming to join me, Did someone call for a flash mob?
6, 7.
7 years after the original shaming, Hester intercepts Dimmesdale on a path through the forest. She reveals Chillingworth's true identity and that he has been deliberately destroying the minister's soul for years. Damn it. Excuse me. I was going to say Dimmesdale is initially furious at Hester, but eventually forgives her. They resolve to escape Boston, board a ship to Europe, and live there as a family. Hester, rejuvenated by this plan, rips off the scarlet letter and frees her hair from her cap. Pearl, however, refuses to cross the brook to join them until Hester pins the A back on her dress and binds her hair again.
Everyone said you were spoiling her. Now look, she is controlling the situation. I told you not to read books by supposed parenting experts.
Dimmesdale is scheduled to deliver the highly anticipated Election Day sermon. On the day of the ceremony, he delivers his most inspired and powerful address. As the procession leaves the church, Dimmesdale appears near death. He calls Hester and Pearl to him on the scaffold. He confesses his sin, tears open his ministerial attire to reveal the A mark on his own chest, and collapses, dying in Hester's arms. Chillingworth, robbed of his victim, lets out a cry of defeat. Chillingworth, his purpose gone, withers and dies within a year, leaving a substantial inheritance to Pearl. Hester and Pearl leave Boston and disappear, presumably to Europe. Many years later, Hester returns to the cottage alone, wearing the scarlet letter once more by her own choice, having found peace and acceptance in her role. Pearl, rumored to have married an aristocrat in Europe, sends gifts to her mother. Hester lives out the rest of her days as a compassionate counselor to the community. When she eventually dies, she is buried beside Dimmesdale, and they share a single, simple tombstone marked with the symbolic letter A. Thank you for joining us with this edition of Literary Reviews.